The Bible begins with the words, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth." Our universe, as immense and as vast as it is, had a beginning. God created the entire universe out of nothing. The psalmist teaches us that we can catch glimpses of the character of our Creator by studying His creation. He writes, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of His hands. Day after day they pour forth speech, and night after night they reveal knowledge. They have no speech, they use no words, no sound is heard from them. Yet their voice goes out to all the earth, their words to the ends of the world." Understanding the story of creation of the universe from a scientific perspective only underscores my faith in our Creator. His infinite patience, His majesty and power, and His ability to make the incredibly complex from the very simple are shown so clearly in the scientific narrative. It tells the same story as Genesis 1 does, but in a much different way.
The moment of the Big Bang is not fully understood by scientists. They can only theorize up to the moment just after, but they cannot describe the instant of creation's birth. It might be best summarized as,
God said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
and in that moment the four forces of physics were born. Gravitational, electromagnetic, strong and weak nuclear forces govern everything around us, from the galaxies in our heavens to the atoms in our cells. Also out of this burst of energy came matter, in the form of protons, neutrons, and electrons, and the elements hydrogen and helium were born. Gravity then caused the hydrogen to swirl into gigantic clouds, growing in mass and density and creating stars. Hydrogen atoms fused, releasing heat and light energy.
Then God said, "Let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. Let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth." And that is what happened. God created two great lights, the larger one to govern the day and the smaller one to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set these lights in the sky to light the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness, and God saw that it was good.
Some of these stars grew so large that they quickly ran out of fuel and exploded, with the force of more than 1 billion atomic bombs. These explosions scattered heavy elements across vast regions of space, and new clouds made of these heavy elements began to collapse and fragment under gravity, eventually forming a later generation star with orbiting planets. Some atoms combined to create simple compounds such as water. In most parts of the universe, this water is either solid or vapor, but if a planet is just the right distance away from a star, it can be liquid water. Our planet is just the right distance away from our sun. Our solar system is just one of the hundreds of billions of solar systems in our galaxy, and our universe holds 100 billion galaxies.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters.
This water and the compounds dissolved in it have the ability to react with each other, forming more complex molecules, including organic molecules. RNA is a molecule with the unique ability to self-replicate. It can act as both a catalyst and a carrier of genetic information. It is this molecule, along with proteins and aggregations of lipids, that allowed the first cells to replicate. Cells gathered to form colonies, and colonies later specialized to become multicellular organisms. Some of these organisms had the ability to harness the sun's energy to power the conversion of water and carbon dioxide into a continuous supply of complex organic molecules and oxygen. This allowed for the formation of simple animal life.
Then God said, "Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant and tree that grows seed-bearing fruit." Then God said, "Let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind." So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that scurries and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird, each producing offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good.
Of all of the animal life that arose over 500 million years of evolution, there was one particular primate species that had the unique ability to reason, communicate, and use tools. God chose these creatures and gave them the gift of an eternal spirit. This gift enabled these first humans to understand sin and gave them the choice to willingly rebel against or to serve God.
Then God said, Let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, all the animals on earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground. God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them.
The Genesis story tells us in a powerful, meaningful way about our magnificent Creator God, who created this incredibly complex and beautiful universe we live in. The point of this poetic comparison is not to show that the Genesis account follows the scientific account perfectly. In fact, the verses from Genesis are quoted out of order. The passages in Genesis do not tell us the details of how the universe was created, but it does tell us who our Creator is. He is the one true God, the great I Am. He's eternal and omnipotent. It also tells us that he created humans with the capacity to know him and to love him and to have a place of honor in creation. These characteristics are so beautifully portrayed in the first chapter of Genesis. I believe it is just as incorrect to contort this beautiful passage into a scientific narrative as it is for the scientific narrative to be twisted into a belief system. They are both true and complement each other. They are two ways of understanding the same magnificent story of creation.